Together we have Dennis, our CEO and designer, Ivan, our artist, and Julia, our programmer. Uh, yeah, we're very happy to get this going. It's been a long time coming. We tried to schedule it as soon as we could. And yeah, we wanted to first thank you everybody for all the amazing questions. We will try to get through as many as possible here today, throughout the next hour. And with that started, I'm going to start with a quick warm-up one. Who in the dev team has any pets? Ivan, do you want to get us started? I know that you have a fluffy boy.
Oh yeah, I have. It's currently it's not on this room and it's leaving, so I don't want to. I don't want to wake
Oh,
up Hachi.
fair
But
enough.
yeah. It's a Shiba Inu.
Oh my God, I saw your doggo, coming in from the corner. Could you
Yeah,
introduce
yeah,
her?
yeah. I also made her on some evolutions. I think if you see the wagging tail, that's her.
Amazing stuff. How about you, Yulia? Do you want to introduce your dog?
Yeah, he's a little bit camera shy today. He's like, look here. It's hide for you. Nah, he's hiding.
Fair enough, fair enough. All
He's
right.
the bestest boy though.
I don't know. My mother's dog, Lucy, Jack Russell's 14-year-old. I think she's the best dog in the world. With that said, that might break the team, but we will have a deep discussion after this anyway. With that said, let's get into some real questions. Not that every single question is real, but some questions are more like other questions. Dennis, why crabs?
Well, obviously, because of the amazing theory of carcinization. In case not everyone is familiar with it, carcinization theory states that eventually every organism ends up evolving into a crab. It may be half meme, half science, but there are organisms that are not from the crab family and ended up developing crab-like features, sometimes even multiple times in the evolution line. So basically, it was a great fit for an evolution theme that most organisms around you end up evolving into a crab, while you have the agency to decide what you evolve into.
Right, that's a great answer. Following up, what sparked the idea for carcinization then, be it being the primary focus of the game?
It was a quite random spark that came just basically a day after the concept in the core of the game. I was thinking what could be a nice theming for an evolution game, just so that its branding is not just evolution. And the carcinization theory just popped up in my mind, and 5 minutes after, the name of the game was decided, and it hasn't changed since. And if anyone ever suggested to change it, we sat down that discussion pretty quickly.
All right. Well, we started exploring the initial ideas, but what inspired you to create the game?
So the core inspiration was simple because, as many people here, we love sport. A lot of people in the team, and I assume also in the chat. But we don't feel the execution was ideal, at least for what I was expecting from the game. And the first and second phases were the only ones that personally I feel like they gave you a feel of evolving your own animal, to the point that a lot of people kept replaying those over and over, which, some differences aside, is basically a roguelike structure. So what if we were to make a game where every round you evolve into a different animal, and we made the actual roguelike of sport, right? So that was the inception.
All right. Thank you for the answer. I will warn you, everybody. Some of the questions are about everything scrap. Others are different, like the following question. Is it coming home? And as an Italian, I don't want to talk about it. As a Swede, I really don't want to talk about it. So moving on. Uh, Another question for you, Dennis. When do we roughly plan on releasing on other platforms? For example, Switch, GeForce Now, or etc.
Well, all we can say is we're already looking into it, and some dates have been floated. We even had a meeting earlier today to try to determine which are the best dates to release. So fingers crossed that this soon TM.
Oh yeah, using the word soon TM. That is that's heavy. Moving on then. Will we be making more content that emphasizes on the roguelike experience, like a skill tree of some sorts?
So first of all, I'm assuming this question refers to the more meta progression stat unlocks tree, not like an in-game tree. So I'm gonna answer in that direction. The philosophy of the game is no to permanent stat upgrades that carry over to following runs. We have a very different structure than Survivor likes intentionally, and we don't want the player to end up beating the game just because they grinded enough meta progression points, right? We want and incentivize the player to learn the details of the ecosystem, the evolutions, the enemies, the attack patterns, and basically adapt, which is what you're supposed to learn in this game, right? This is why the game gets harder and not easier with time, right? Which would be different if we gave you, let's say, free meta progression points every time you were beaten. We want you to learn, not to get free points to make the game easier eventually.
Perfect. Speaking of the game, let's delve into a little bit into the technicalities. As a failed game developer, how have you solved that the sprite changes dynamically to show the different evolutions? It looks super good, but seems complicated considering the huge number of combinations. Yulia, how about you tackle this one?
Yeah, really great question. So every body part is its own separate ad layer. And then we put them into sprite sheet and plug them into animations. Also, each body part is its own separate game object on Darwin character. So we also developed our own constraint system, keeping it designer friendly based on scriptable objects that we can determine what conditions need to be met for body parts to be enabled or disabled. So I can take, for example, beak evolution as a good example, I think. So we have 3 game objects for regular beak and for specializations. So for long beak and sharp. When the player gained the beak evolution, the regular beak gets enabled. When they get one of the specializations, we disable the regular beak, and the constraint system reevaluates that one of the sharp or long beak should get enabled. So I think this is a high-level overview.
Thank you for the overview. It was very succinctly explained. Following up, Dennis, will future cosmetics always be behind a paywall DLC, or will it be more like the latest patch 1.1?
So this one is a bit of a surprising question because the majority of cosmetics we have on our plan are actually unlockable by just playing the game for free, right? So just in case people were not aware of it. The only exception for that so far is the supporter pack, which is, you know, a way for people who really enjoy and appreciate the game to give a bit more back to the developers. But the plan, to be clear, is to keep releasing cosmetics with free updates, right? And still not decided yet if we want to also add cosmetics to DLCs.
All right. Speaking of visuals, will we ever go into, say, dinosaur or prehistoric animal evolutions as well?
It is a possibility that has been discussed. We already have kind of one spoiler there with the new specialization, right?
Mhm.
We still don't know if and when it will happen, but it would be one of the coolest potential big additions that we could do to the game. So, potential
All right.
spoiler there.
Let's say that we were actually going to do such an exploration, possibly an expansion of the game that is prehistoric. Ivan, are there any specific dinosaurs that we'll be looking forward to drawing? Maybe a couple of T-Rex arms as a cosmetic?
Yeah, I think the tiny T-Rex arms will look very funny. And also, I think pterodactyl features like the beak or maybe the wings could be very cool too. And also, maybe we could add something about the ever changing Spinosaurus. I think it was the one that pretty much every year it changes. But yeah, we have a lot of to explore there.
I already have a potential name for the patch. Everywhere is Spark. All right. Speaking of fantastical elements such as Jurassic Park, Dennis, have you ever considered adding more fantastical elements to the game? It's not too big of a jump in the logic to be able to breathe fire.
That's a fair question. I would say the rule of thumb is that we will keep goofy, yes, but real nature-based. So we allow ourselves for some extra goofiness and absurdity, which is part of our branding, in not so relevant details like the hat burp, one of the favorites of the community for sure. But we feel like if we open the gameplay and evolutions to the fantasy and start breathing fire and do any kind of spell casting or whatever, we will lose our identity and we will be merged with the many other spell casting, let's call it that way, action roguelikes.
Speaking of the fantastical, Ivan, have you ever considered different color options for Darwin?
Yeah, I mean, originally I thought of Darwin as bluish because it's a water blob that came from the water and it moved into the exterior to evolve. So blue was like it was like a very it was the color for that. But I think we are open to maybe we could explore different colors and also different origins if that's the case. But yeah, it's something we need to explore.
If I may add something here, a little bit of a nuts of the game or hint in the game is that the splicing menu happens underwater. I assume people notice, but I don't know if people made the connection that this is because you're coming out of the water. So the start of the game is being in the water technically, then coming out of the water to the surface for the first time. I see a lot of O's in the chat, so I assume that it wasn't a
Oh my God,
well-known
are you
fact.
giving away the lore?
Lore, oh
Yeah.
no.
Are you giving away the lore?
It's canon now.
Oh, damn. I really wish we could, introduce the canon some other way, but hey, the AMA is here to reveal the truths.
Yep.
Speaking of truths, Blank Pendragon asked us, I just got married. Do you have any advice? As the youngest person in the development team and the company, and one of the few who are unmarried, my answer is I'm sure your spouse is a keeper. Good luck, have fun, and keep doing the same stuff that you did. You mean you got married so far? What could go wrong? Getting back into the game, Dennis, will multiplayer ever be added?
So, loaded question. To be honest, we'll answer this one mostly to give a bit of visibility of the complexity of adding multiplayer to single-player structure games, right? There is this meme going around that you just need to tick the allow multiplayer checkbox in Unity or Unreal to make multiplayer happen. But to the surprise of, I hope, no one, it is not that easy. All this to say, working on multiplayer will require a massive restructuring of not only code, but also a huge redesign. So not a straight yes or no answer, but more of a informative note that it just cannot happen literally anytime soon. Could be a possibility for the future, but yeah, it's not easy. Let's leave it at that.
That's fair. I mean, we meet a lot of different hard, difficult technicalities when implementing new features, and multiplayer isn't a small feature to implement. Following up on that question, are we planning to create a game mode that allows for co-op gameplay, or PvE or PvP? Any thoughts?
Similar answer there, to be honest. It is not to the same degree of complexity, especially on the design side. The fact that the multiplayer one would be most likely a more competitive environment, and you would need to balance things in order for it to not be completely broken. Which everyone knows that in a single-player rogue, like certain degree of brokenness is even desired. That changes quite a bit on multiplayer. Co-op is slightly different. Some degree of brokenness is still fine, so it's slightly easier, but still the technical complexities are there. So again, not anytime soon, if it is to happen.
That's fair. Moving on to a lighter subject. What's your favorite Pokemon generation? And I'm going to direct this one to Ivan first.
Yeah, definitively. Oh, I can't say that word. Yeah. I'm not going to say definitively because that I never in any meeting I can say that word. But my favorite Pokemon was the Pokemon Black. I think it was, as a pixel artist, it was amazing sprite wise. I think it's the one that, to me, it has also the best music and also the best story. Uh, yeah, overall, it's my favorite one. But my favorite Pokemon is Gengar from the first generation.
All right. I'm moving it over to Yulia. How about you?
Oh my gosh, I feel like shame bells will be going off somewhere around, but honestly, I was never much into Pokemon. So yeah, as a kid, I was more into Crash Bandicoot.
That's fair. Following up, mine was Pokemon Pearl. I have no idea about the generations. Pure nostalgia. That's the game that I got gifted on the Nintendo DS as a child. And I'll say Raichu being one of my favorite Pokemons. How about you, Dennis?
I would say I'm a bit with Ivan regarding gameplay and narrative being very peak around that era of Black and White. Although the nostalgia factor makes me want to choose the first generations just because it's the first ones that I played back in the old times of the dinosaurs. So yeah, probably I would go with the first generation. And probably from that generation, my favorite is Abra. Just the fact that it behaves so differently that just teleports out of every encounter, and it's very cute by itself. That would be my pick.
All right. I hope we didn't cause the worst cataclysm and infighting in the chat. Uh, we're going to move over to the next question, which is I think is one of the most interesting ones. If you could recreate everything is crab in a different gaming genre, which would you pick and why? And everyone except Dennis is gonna answer this one. Yulia, do you want to start?
Oh, I'm gonna answer this one too.
Okay, so I love cooking, and I think that would be a really great fit as a cooking game. So, you have Darwin just cooking different ingredients, like let's say you have an octopus you consume, and then you grow tentacles to like handle multiple pans at the same time. I can see that.
How about you, Ivan?
I think considering the multiple options and also the roguelike elements, maybe it could work as a card game. You have Darwin as your leader or as a main character, and you build it different. You have like plenty of options of different evolution, and also the point of interest could work as stage cards.
We should send them an email to Wizard of the Coast and see if we can get into Magic the Gathering.
Oh yeah, or Bandai, maybe.
Maybe. I'm going
Maybe.
to follow up with it will be interesting to properly explore the lore and turn everything is crab world into a TTRPG. Basically, everybody starts as their own version of Darwin, and through the different evolutions and level ups, they get to change the way their character looks and plays. How about you, Dennis? You get to answer.
Gameplay wise, thank you for allowing me to answer.
Okay, all right.
Gameplay wise, I have to be honest that I think roguelike is the most fitting one that I can think of, but I would love to see anyone try to make Everything is Crab into a romance visual novel and just see how that goes. Fan fiction is also allowed. Our DMs are open if anyone wants to send us any message about it.
All
Joke,
right.
not joke.
Okay, but let's put a hard character limit count before it goes overboard. More than 20,000 characters, and we will not read it. We need to continue working on the game. But all right, I think we kind of opened the floodgate there with that question. Let's get back to one about the game. Dennis, are there any plans for custom difficulty modes like sandbox type?
Um, there is a feature in the medium to late part of the roadmap, unconfirmed for which paths. But yeah, we are looking into making some kind of more sandboxy mode. This is not like a confirmation that's coming anytime soon, but yeah, we're looking into it. Unless anything goes wrong, we will be at some point developing a sandbox like mode with many options.
Perfect. All right. This next one is a bit more personal. Ivan, what was the hardest part of making the game so far?
Um, I think on the department of art, the hardest one or the most challenging one was creating all the different evolutions in separate sprites, making sure that all of them work with all the current Darwin animations, and also and also it was important that we have like a very readable silhouette with all the evolutions, and of course the implementation. Then I think that was the most challenging part by far.
That's fair. That's fair. How about you, Julia?
Right. So everything curve started as an idea to test the waters of releasing a game on Steam. But then when we noticed friends and family who tested were really hooked, so we decided to put more focus and time into it. But when we started, we did use the plugins to develop more quickly. And when the project expanded, they do continue to make development certain features harder than we would wish for. So yeah, on the code side, I think that's the biggest one.
That's fair. For me, very early in our development process, when we didn't have yet much help with the QA, just getting into it and making sure that everything got tested out properly, and which means very thoroughly and in a way that would help Julia understand where the bugs are and where the problems are, was a really difficult and time-consuming experience. How about you, Dennis?
From the game design aspect, I would say probably making, let's say, an alternative play style and win condition into an action roguelike, right? Usually when you play an action roguelike, it's all about fighting, and that's the only way to progress, the only way to beat the game, the only win condition. It was quite challenging to come up with different ways to beat the game where you could just make friends or just not even have any kind of aggression through the whole game and still incorporate that in a standard action roguelike structure.
Speaking of which, it kind of reminds me of a funny story where Dennis had to call me out multiple times on, hey, Mido, stop ignoring the rest of the animals and play nomadic when you're QAing and actually attack animals. Or, hey, Mido, please, we need to test the social and the courting and all of the love-based mechanics. Please try to make friends. And try that out.
Perhaps we did the job too well then.
Right? Following up on questions about the game, Yulia, what is something that we chose to leave out of the game that existed before we released the demo version 1.0?
So something that comes to mind is lycanthrope genetic. So it allowed to have a day and night Darwin that would have different evolutions and different stats. I just feel like we couldn't balance it to actually make it feel good in the end. So fun fact, we do still have it in our code base. It's just commented out.
Please
Don't
don't
undermine
undermine
it.
us. Yeah.
Don't undermine it. That's a good way to just not be friends with us anymore. But thank you for the thrilling answer, pun intended. Following up on a very important question that has been asked by a lot of people through popular demand. Dennis, do we have any
Oh,
plans
I
on
know where this is going.
somehow improving endless mode?
Yeah, unless it's something we're keeping an eye on it. One of the top priorities we're keeping an eye on. It's one of the potential improvements for sure. We don't know when or how. That's the reality. We feel though that we can still improve the base game, which in time will also improve endless. So that is our priority. But yes, we want to keep looking at endless and see how we can improve it in the future.
All right. Uh, Following up on that question, can we have an endless mode on the challenges?
Could be. So for full visibility, the main reason why it didn't happen, obviously everyone wants to release as much stuff as they want, right? but the amount of complexity to balance Endless by itself is non-trivial, especially given that you can play it from pressure 10 to pressure 20 with different degrees of difficulty. If you add on top of that being able to play it in the environment of each of all of the current challenges plus every feature challenge, it means that the amount of things to test and to balance skyrockets. And don't get me wrong, I'm up for some amount of brokenness in maybe 1 or 2 challenges. But if this is the norm, that Endless is completely broken for a lot of challenges, and it's a nightmare to balance, that becomes a problem, right? So probably in the future at some point, but not one of the top priorities.
That's
based
fair.
on time, basically.
Speaking of the future, Ivan, what is something that you have not yet worked on or even discussed with the rest of the team about adding to the game that but you think may be very cool to add?
I think that if Hatberg fashioned into evolving different hats, maybe Darwin can be too.
Oh, you're gonna open a can.
Yeah, it's a hot topic there.
A can of worms with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
How about you, Julia? Any feature that you think would be really cool that you haven't discussed with the team yet?
Well, I think really cool would be adding unicorns and dragons. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Sounds like a name of a franchise or something. Maybe we should start it.
Everything is unicorns. Next game? Question mark?
Yeah, why not?
Right.
And dragons.
Hey, look, we already have hats into the game. How about some sunglasses? Imagine like some cool aviators on. I mean, Grabber already has sunglasses, but like maybe different.
Technically, Baskin has sunglasses, just not on Darwin, but
Darwin should evolve sunglasses when you pick basking. And if you have multiple eyes, every single eye has sunglasses. I'm not making your life harder even. Trust me. How about you, Dennis? Any fun features that you are holding out on us?
Oh, that would be too much of a spoiler. Sorry.
I
need to save that answer for the actual content.
All right, let's put a soon trademark on that one and move on to the next question. Oh yeah, speaking of which, Toby's girlfriend, you asked us to say, can you add something that says I love Toby? And I love Toby. I hope that answered it.
We all do.
All right. Man, my camera was hot. Perfect. Another question about future features that aren't about Toby. Julia, Discord rich presence. When?
So it's a potential feature we deprioritized a while back. But now we actually have a similar feature for off-reach presence in Twitch extension. So definitely possible we could revisit it. I think it's a really good suggestion.
All right. Continuing on the exploration about the game. What is every one of the devs team's favorite game at the moment that isn't Everything is Grab? Dennis, do you want to get us started? What are you researching?
So I'm not gonna say favorite because that one probably didn't change in a while. But the one that I'm playing the most right now, it's probably Battlemon Showdown, which is a demo actually. So I invite everyone to play it. Free publicity for the devs is really good for a demo. So hyped for the release.
Ivan, how about you? What are you playing right now?
I'm playing Final Fantasy VII, the Rebirth, the second one. So I'm doing all the quests and also doing the card game inside the game. So yeah, I'm on the chapter 10, so please no spoilers in chat.
Are you going to complete everything in the game? I heard you are quite the completionist. All right. Rest in peace, Ivan. We'll see you in 3 months. How about you, Julia?
So I'm playing quite a lot of Dave the Diver recently. It's like really nice mix for me. I like scuba diving. I like cooking. So it's something to unwind.
That's nice. Me and my significant other are playing a lot of Overcooked 2 right now. I bought the Overcooked all you can eat combination of the two. So we have all of the stuff accessible. And then that's a really great way to be happy and turn very angry with each other and then be happy once again. Roller coaster.
I'm
But
surprised
moving
you're having
on.
happy moments. I notice with Overcooked it's usually just frustration, but
Look, I'm not lying for the community, but I am lying for the community. We did have happy moments. When the level is complete and the 3 stars and we don't need to ever play it again, that's the happy moment. And then the next level starts and we turn unhappy once again. All right, this one I'm kind of giving to the rest of the team. Have we heard of Hive Blight? It's another game that uses real-world creatures, bugs, and fungi to form the basis of the game. Dennis, have you heard of it?
I haven't, to be honest.
Our research, I think, hasn't gotten us so far. Unless even you, have you heard of it?
No, but until today, I never heard of that game.
I can say it is on our radar right now, and who knows? Maybe we can send Dennis on some more market research if the Steam budget holds. All right. Moving on. This one is for you, Dennis. Will there be fully stationary, aka plant evolutions?
Funny story. Chlorophyll was in fact one of the first evolutions ever concepted. I think it was one of the first 10 evolutions we spoke about. So this was a consideration for a long time. But we never found how to actually execute on it properly, to be honest, while keeping the rest of the game balanced and that archetype fun. If we ever find out how to do it, we will probably do, because it's a fun little twist and idea, but yeah, it's a tricky one.
Imagine being chased by like 6 bewares, and then all of a sudden the evolution kicks in and you can't move anymore. Sounds like a nightmare. Another question for you, Dennis, which we kind of touched upon a little bit earlier. Will you ever consider different base starting characters with different stats and appearances?
So there was a design for this at some point, for having small and not so small differences in the starting Darwin or the starting ecosystem around Darwin based on the genetic that you pick. But that feature was deprioritized and is sitting in a box in the basement. So we may never heard of it again, or we may heard of it again if we start developing all of the other things that sit on top of it.
One feature at a time, people, one feature at a time.
Yes.
All right. Speaking of features and evolutions, what's everyone's personal favorite evolution? You, do you want to get started?
okay, so I don't want to be boring, but there is one evolution that no matter what anything else rolls, I'm always gonna go for, and it is a fun favorite, Cheek Pouch.
All right, but which specialization?
You know, and this is a problem. I want the Cheek Pouch, but I don't care so much. But I never go with the Stoner.
All right, understandable. I think everybody
So
has
skip
read
then.
Cheek
Okay,
Pouch.
sure,
Let's
yeah.
skip. Ivan, how about you?
This is the same. Even if it doesn't work with the build I'm working with in the run, if I see antlers or snow dive evolution, I always take it, no matter what.
Nice. That's an art-driven player right there.
I fell in love with Nomadic from the first time I saw it, and since then it has been buffed and nerfed, and then kind of got a little bit of a buff again. It should get a bigger buff. Dennis just saying. #buff Nomadic.
Noted.
And for 1.3, no, I'm kidding. I will not promise that. Yes, Tazuna, there was a buff on Nomadic. In the past, it would give you like plus to 300% or something like that once fully upgraded at the legendary level.
Yep.
And
It was crazy.
it was amazing. It was so easy to go for like 300, 500, 400 levels. Yeah. How about you, Dennis? What's your favorite evolution? What's your favorite child?
Well, picking the favorite child is not an easy thing, but I would say perhaps not a fan favorite, but I really like the simple idea of scavenger. Just the fact that there are many ways and not only one way to achieve the bonus progress. Like you can corner or push Blobfish into the viewers, chasing them instead of hitting the Blobfish yourself. so that you get the bonus. So you get to think a little bit out of the box, or you can, just grab feeding distance and run all around the map. There's several ways to get Scavenger to work, and I like it for that.
Speaking of scavenger and eating things, this question is a bit of a curveball. Ivan, Yulia, which boss tastes best? Ivan, from the art side, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Crafter could make a good barbecue. But I also think that Shelefant could make like a very tasty sashimi seafood type of food. So
How about you, Yulia?
Yeah, I think like Craptor would really make juicy steaks, so I see that. I think Aquaconda actually is also really great sushi material, so like sashimi from Aquaconda would be great.
Maybe a fun shelly crab oil? Speaking of which, I think we discussed this yesterday, but this is not canon. Crab Thulu, bleh. Pure inedible meat. Tastes like garbage, smells putrid, completely inaccessible, and should
Probably
not be eaten.
poisonous too.
Yeah, poisonous as well. For anybody who wants to update the wiki, this is not canon. You can quote me or anybody else on the team on this one. Crab Thulu, unedible or
We
inedible.
can add it to the codex in the next version.
Count it so. Do you think that the shiny version makes the meat better though? Dennis?
Yes, I guess. Okay, let's establish some canon here. Yes, it's the Wagyu beef version of any animal.
Oh my god, Wagyu beef, Aquaconda, sashimi. That
Basically.
would be food for the rich man. Following up on lore and flavor, does carcinization affect flavor? For example, do the higher tiers of crab tar taste more like crab than beef? Yulia, what do you think?
I think something we also need to discuss and establish properly here. But I'd say yes, I see it actually. Yeah, that's definitely like flavors
Canon.
improvement.
Canon, the more towards crab they go, the more the beef start tastes like crab, and the protein starts to get different.
It's the seafood gradient. Yeah.
Frutti di mare.
I mean, surf and turf is a thing, so.
Right? Honestly, just hunting a crab there across bus and just having surf and turf, that would be a nice meal. All right. The next question is for you, Dennis. For how long do you see ourselves working on Everything is Crab? Will the game continue to receive new/free paid content, free/paid content beyond the next upcoming year?
Yeah, I think we've already spoken about it, and it's kind of in the roadmap too. But we're planning to support Everything is Crab for at the very least 1 year after release. This includes many free content updates, but also some, at least one, paid DLCs. But our philosophy is still to be fair towards the community. That is why we have such a cheap game, let's say, for the amount of hours you can play it, and why we're doing many free content updates even before we start working on concepting any DLC.
That's fair. We do have a public roadmap both on the Steam page and on the #welcome channel. So if anybody's curious about what the DLC might be about, you can take a look over there, a little peeksy. Also, like if you kept an eye on throughout the answers so far, there are a couple of hints here and there about the DLC. I will not say which because tease. Following up, Dennis, how much content do y'all foresee coming in the future updates? And yeah, we already talked about the DLC.
Regarding how much content, we can say that 1.1 was very, very big for a patch update, right? You don't usually see 10 pages of patch notes, including new content, balance changes, etc., and a lot of bug fixes. So we can say that not all of the patches are going to be so massive just because it's physically possible, but we plan to do one free update every, it's hard to tell a date, but a short span of like few weeks to few months, and we aim to continue doing that until at some point we do a DLC. And based on the traction of Everything is Scrap, we will probably continue to work on it and make more content for as long as the game is enjoyed. And yeah, and we don't have any other specific project that we wanna switch into. But
Alright.
even if we switch into another project, we will probably keep developing Everything is Scrap in the background.
Speaking of future content, will there be an option to go down into mines or fly into the sky? Where there may be new enemies or something similar, new POIs?
I mean, new enemies and new POIs for sure. Those we can confirm, especially on DLCs. But something like mines or flying into the sky, if it were to happen, that will be for sure DLC material due to the complexity and the impact of allowing that.
I think it would turn into a very claustrophobic situation if you were into a tight little mine space and 5 beavers were to chase you. Not to repeat the past traumas of what was it? Playtest 2 Ice Age? All right. Speaking of mines and sky, stuff like that, will there be any new biomes?
This is one of the higher priority considerations for big content updates soon, to be honest. There are a few candidates, but there is no full design on what biome would be next, because there's just so much we can do. So it's just fighting against, as always, other cool content we want to do. So yes, we just don't know when.
Kawhi, I do see your cries and cries is a little bit mean. Your questions and your wishes to for us to bring back the ice challenge from PP2, and sadly that shape has passed. Maybe in the future we might do a retro revisit of past challenges and turn the difficulty knob up on the challenge. That was a repeat of the word challenge, but we'll see. No promises. This is just a spitball idea. All right. Speaking of the roadmap in the future, any new mobs, new mob interactions, new events, seasons, POIs, mechanics, new biomes? Can you give us anything, Dennis?
Yes, to almost all of them. We're looking to increase in general the ecosystem richness and the variance of runs in many ways that we can think of. And the only limit is just development time. So we will be working just in new mobs, new POIs, new interactable stuff. So yes.
All right. Moving a little bit away from the game now into the realms of headcanon. If Darwin evolved into a superhero, who do you think he would be? Julia, do you want to start us on that?
Well, there actually is already an X-Men comic character called Darwin, and I think fits perfectly.
True.
How about you, Dennis?
So the first one that came to mind, usually I'm more of a Marvel fan than DLC, sorry, than DC fan. But Plastic Man from DC instantly came to mind. I don't know. I guess the fact that they are both kind of shifters and extremely goofy and unserious, but also absolutely overpowered in what they can do, I think it's a pretty good fit.
How about you, Ivan?
This is not from DC nor Marvel, but I think that Sun Eater from My Hero Academia fits Darwin philosophy that if he eats a food, he gets the power from that food.
Nice.
In that same regards, I think I also say that Kirby, but this is not a superhero, but Kirby was a huge inspiration for creating Darwin, by the way.
Right. Let me say that Ivan kind of stole my answer. I was about to say Kirby, but I also wanted to revisit the question itself. Like, sure, let's say that Darwin's a superhero. Who's he gonna save? They're like nobody needs
The
any
poor
saving.
Hatburbs that are bullied by panthers, I guess.
I mean, fair. I guess in that case, Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender. she can do a lot of different caves for the well, not caves, burrows for the different adverbs. All right, back to the game. Do you guys plan on making an evolution that benefits from rain instead of being debuffed by it? Right now, it is quite severe of a debuff, and having an evolution that turns that around would be really cool.
There's no immediate design to make that happen. It is a cool idea, though, so it could happen at some point. I don't know if you missed the community evolution thingy that we did recently, and it's to be revealed soon. But that was a good opportunity to submit proposals for that. I don't know if we will do it again in the future, but if you have any idea in mind, just can throw it on the feedback forum.
All right, this one is another one for you, Dennis. While developing and balancing the game, did you ever consider adding some way of creating offspring, laying eggs, etc.? And if not, would you be interested in adding it to the game as a way to have a build that can continue after death by playing as one of said offspring?
Yeah, it has been considered many times with many different evolutions. The possibility to, split or just lay an egg and protect it, or many other ways to have offsprings. The only limitation is technical, because as everyone, we would love to do it, but the amount of work to execute it will be dramatically higher compared with other evolutions, right? It would imply that those little Darwins can be autonomous and handled by the AI and know how to properly execute every attack, dash, and ultimate of the game properly, which is probably gonna give us a bit of a headache on the AI side.
Ooh.
I think I see Julia nodding, so yeah.
Turning everything in Scrabble to an isekai. Uh, all right. This one is another one for you, Dennis. Is it possible to have a feature to zoom in or out into the game? Let's say by rolling the mouse wheel up and down.
So zooming out, no, because that would provide gameplay benefits that we want to limit. If we ever wanted to zoom out, it would be mostly tied to an evolution, some way to see more than other people, other animals, right? Zoom in, we don't think it's going to be that useful for the majority of people. If we see enough people wanting a zoom in feature, we can consider it either as an accessibility thing or as an option by default. But yeah, zoom out is a bit more out of the question for now.
All right. Following up on the questions, this one is for both you and Julia. I'm gonna let Julia start. How did we decide on the gamepad controls? Were there any difficulties in implementing them?
Sorry, could you repeat that one, please?
Of course. How did it go with the implementation of the gamepad controls?
Like how do you rephrase? Like how did we decide which button is gonna do what? Or like.
Yeah, exactly. How did we decide which buttons to connect where?
Okay. Yeah, so some team members, like I'm personally more keyboard mouse player, so that one is a little bit more tricky for me, but like we just took more of the information from like gamepad players what they wanted to be assigned. So we tested it. We didn't start by default with the controls that we have. We switched attacks around. So yeah, it was kind of tested, and then we decided like what feels best. But we also added rebinding so the player can actually change it to what feels good for them.
How was it testing out and balancing the game with the gamepad compared to the mouse and keyboard, Dennis? Do you feel that the different input and just playing the game in different ways kind of had an influence on the balance?
Can you repeat the first part? I didn't understand.
Of course. Did you feel that there was any difference between balancing the game on while playing with the keyboard and mouse compared with the controller?
To some degree, yes, but the goal was not to balance so that it works on both, was to get them to behave so similarly that there were no functional advantages to any of them. Still, obviously, we see that some people are more comfortable with keyboard and mouse, and some people are more comfortable with controller, but it is not to such degree that we consider it unbalanced or in need to have very different mechanics in one and another. It was a cohesive effort to every evolution that we make should work equally well in both modes.
All right. Speaking of the game, how long did we spend on making the game?
So production with the whole team started, if I remember correctly. I remember correctly because I basically quit my AAA job to just jump full time here, and it was in August September of 2024. 24? Am I getting my year right? Yeah. So now almost 2 years ago. So basically, we made the game in 1 year and like 7 or 8 months, something like that.
All right. Yeah, I can tell you all that I joined a little bit after, and it's been a lovely time throughout it. Another one for you, Dennis. How do you rate the success of the game, and did it do as well as you hoped?
We rate it as yes. Thank you for your support. It went as well and better than we would imagine. Obviously, we had a lot of wishlist and traction coming from the playtest and the demo, but in this ecosystem, you cannot trust that it doesn't matter. There we see many games with a lot of wishlists released and be flops, or just be badly received, or just never take off. Ours was, to be honest, a success from day one, and we're still seeing like good traction, and community seems to vibe with it. So better than we would have expected, even with the good traction that we had.
I think I can speak for the rest of the team that yes, we were extremely surprised and humbled by the amount of love every one of you has poured into the game, and also like the different feats and just records that you have done with the game itself. Holy guacamole!
Yeah,
Like,
when we see numbers such as millions of runs or things like that, it's pretty humbling.
yeah. We should do another run of stats, by the way, speaking of which. It could
True.
be fun to take a look at how it's going for the community. Uh, this one will be for Ivan, given that he has dabbled a little bit with it. Will there be an implemented storyline along just evolving in the game?
Oh, I would love to do that. But again, that's something that I cannot give any promise. But I would love to give some sort of extra lore and storytelling into what happens with Darwin and what happens with uh, all the animals in this ecosystem.
And the
But
POIs?
yeah. But believe me, I made some hints about the lore in some enemies, especially certain enemy death animation,
Woo!
and that's
You're giving them
that's
a
all
lot of
the
material to
that's
work with.
yeah. I'm not going to say anything else.
Yeah, there are a lot of different niches. Speaking on a person that does write a lot for the studio, but not on the game, as I write a lot for True Thirsty. There are a lot of different parts that I would love to explore together with Dennis and Ivan. Specifically the POIs, like the stone calendar. Where does it come from? Why is it here? Why did somebody need to measure the time? And why do you get to make the day longer or shorter by interacting with it? There's a lot of fun stuff that we could explore with it. Dennis, how about you? You are technically the creative director for this game.
Well, I would also love to visit it at some point. It's just, to be honest, I don't have a structure or anything. There's a bit of lore here and there, but we don't just wanna spill lore. We have the Ask Me Anything sessions for that. So if we find a structure where we can tell a story and it fits the game, that would be great. Otherwise, it will remain as a kind of narrative in the environment kind of game, as we just, the little details like the splicing being underwater and how Darwin appears, how, this kind of details.
All right. Following up, this one is going to be a hard question to answer because it's a very personal one. So I'm going to be completely quiet and let y'all discuss it. Who's the best player out of the devs here?
Who's that? Sorry?
Who's the best player out of the devs?
I would love to say me, but like I always just go for visuals. I mean, honestly, like it's just I want Darwin to look pretty. So I mean, if I had to
So then
vote,
Julia, because
no,
he's max looking, which is the important part of the game. So
yeah. So I would say like in max looking,
looks
I win.
maxing. No, yeah, not max
I'm gonna
looking, looks
max
maxing.
looking, max looking.
Max looking, look. Yeah, sounds better.
The "Hey kids, how you doing" meme has been created. Oh, I remember during the last round of QA right before 1.0, for some reason I got stuck on pressure 3. And Dennis called me out on that, and then I got stuck on pressure 13, and Dennis called me out on that again. It's kind of funny. Dennis is great at judging when people are stuck in places, but I've never seen him play a proper game through and through, so it's hard to say.
That's because I use the cheats. I mean, no, that's
There
because
are no cheats. We don't
I'm
have
so
cheats.
good that I don't have to cheat. Is what
Development tools? No, we don't. Why would
No,
we
no,
develop
we
tools,
don't.
mate?
We don't do that.
Man. Yeah, the person who asked this one is really out here to destroy the studio and create a rift among all of us. Following up on, let's focus back on the game and less about the devs. Would there be more monsters in the game? Before you answer this one, Dennis, let me just settle the tone. There are no monsters in the game, just
Yeah,
animals.
clarify monsters.
Right?
All of them are beautiful animals,
They're
just trying to
misunderstood.
survive in an ecosystem. Even Kravkan. It's just very misunderstood in his case, but yeah.
Right? But are there coming any new ones?
Yeah, there are new animals coming. Not monsters. They will also be very lovable and murderous animals.
You should see our Miro discussion chats and pages. There are so many ideas going back and forward. I still remember the night boss that I proposed. We will see if it ever makes a comeback. All right, Ivan, if there were any animal that you would love to bring into the game, like right now, if Dennis would be forced to say yes, which animal would you put into the game?
Oh, I will say something like a rhinoceros. I remember that was one of the first beta animals
I remember
that I
that
sketched.
concept.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
rhinoceros hit different. I don't know why it was lost with the time, but
Yeah.
I want him back.
Yeah, we
Hashtag
could bring it back.
free rhinoceros.
How about you, Yuja?
I think I'm gonna go back to unicorns. It's just Dennis claims it's not a real animal, so I'm being banned on that one.
Oh, man, my owl with night goggles. One day it will be real. Hatburbs are real. Birds aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen
Yeah.
many.
I think there was also the discussion that maybe we could add something like a monkey, but we have already enough pesky pest animals. So
Yeah. I think
maybe
everyone hates Pilferret already enough to have a second Pilferret, basically.
Nah, we need more bros in the game. Imagine a crocodile bro, which is Krabby but in the waters.
A Brocrodile.
Brocodile. Oof, we have the name. All right, moving on to the next question about the future of the game and potential new ideas. Will we be able to evolve some of the enemy attacks for Darwin? For example, the large poison cloud that viewers drop.
There are some of them that we are already looking to include at some point. I will not spoil which or if they are or not in the community evolutions that some people have proposed, but there are some that are being considered. Yes, even before they were proposed, they were considered. But it is good that some people is aligned and they're proposing ideas that we already had about doing some of the animals attacks for Darwin.
It's always kind of funny when I read one of the feedback forums ideas where it's already like not only thought of, decided on, but also planned and scheduled, so I know when it's
Yeah.
coming and sitting there, like doing my best not to write. Yeah, just wait a minute.
Yeah, wait 5 days.
Give us 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. The next question is: certain desert animals have evolved the ability to eat cacti. Is this something that we might see in the game? Dennis, another one for you.
I would say if we were to do more vor type of abilities, maybe, but I feel like there is a bigger space to cover than something so specific. Because we don't have so many, especially with the new visuals for trees in the sand, the amount of cacti is also reduced to some degree. So I'm not sure if that would work that well. It will have to give a massive amount of experience to make it so to make it good enough to be an evolution.
That's fair. Uh, Following up on evolutions, any plans to add evolutions that are dependent on Darwin's size as a prerequisite? Like becoming a whale or an elephant, or a swarm of tiny Darwin that play like one unit.
Yeah, we've played with that idea many times. One of the reasons we do not keep going so much into the big size archetype is because there is already a fair amount of support for it. Same with small, so we're trying to help archetypes that are not so obvious or clear cut for players. But yeah, if at the point we need to add more size related evolutions in genetics, yeah, some kind of gentle giant, some kind of mega monster that requires it to be a gigantic evolution, that could be an interesting one.
Oof. I guess it's kind of funny that for us being a very not so Swedish studio, we do try our best to keep it lagom. For everybody who wonders what lagom mean, please Google it. It's going to be an amazing part. All right. Moving on to the next question. Will there be more animal evolutions in the future, like a crow or a peacock, etc.?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Will there be more animal-based evolutions in the future, like something based on crows and peacocks, or any other
An
animal?
animal-based evolution, unless I'm misunderstanding, aren't all the evolutions we're doing animal-based, or does it mean like from a very, very specific animal?
Don't ask the messenger. Like, don't trust the messenger.
Whoever wrote the question, please clarify so that we can answer it.
If there was one animal right now, yeah, Dennis, without any art or code constraints or sound constraints, where you would love to grab an evolution from, which animal would it be?
With no constraints, maybe giraffe, because of how difficult it is technically to make the long neck happen, but how cool of an evolution idea it is. If you're removing the technical constraints, I am grabbing the giraffe neck. If you're adding the technical constraints, then we're not gonna have a problem because that's a hard one to do.
How about you, Ivan? If you get to ignore code, sound, and design, what would you add?
I thought the same one, mostly because it's the most silhouette changing, having like this huge neck, and also the most challenging and difficult technically. Um, but if I had to add other one, yeah, maybe something related to birds or maybe something related to fish. I think we could work into having more of those.
How about you, Yulia? If you get to ignore art and the design and audio, what would you put into the game?
Like I was thinking about it. It's a tough one. I really would love to have some honey badger. We have pistol pincer, which is like crazy powerful. So I don't know what honey badger would do. I just really love this animal, like watching YouTube videos. So I don't have a fleshed out idea, but honey badger would be cool.
This is low-key one of the best questions that we got, because now you get to see like a little bit how the design process goes from grabbing the influence from real life evolutions into what would it even do in the game. If I get to ignore all of you, because I don't do design, not the art, nor music or programming, echolocations and potentially radar parts, like how bats move around. If we're able to translate that with, I don't know, turning the game completely dark and just echolocating our way forward, that would be very interesting, but also huge ramifications to the gameplay. Huge ramifications.
Yep,
Uh,
that's a tricky one too.
yeah. Moving on, will there be additional evolutions in the mushroom side of things? A few fungi ones?
I mean, we're fun guys in general, but it is not one of the highest priorities because it is already quite powerful, especially with the buffs that now herbivore and vegan also benefit from fungi. We believe it's in a good spot. The moment we start adding more evolutions everywhere, probably fungi is gonna get another one at some point, but it's not one of the archetypes that needs the most help right now.
All right, I have a question of my own that the community has asked from time to time. Is the lethal plus lethal mushroom true? Does it exist?
Unless there is a bug or like something on the implementation going wrong, it should not exist because lethal is a unique rare model. No, it says there's always a lethal mushroom, but there is one lethal mushroom, so there's only one modifier of lethal that can appear in a run. This is why when you find the lethal mushroom, then you know that everything else is much safer to eat, so you can consume everything that is not safe, like the one that almost killed you if you survived it. So that is a hint. Eat as many mushrooms as you can so that when you die to the lethal one, you can say that was the lethal one and restart the game.
To clarify, every single mushroom gets their own archetype and identity in the game for each one, then which can change, and only one visual of the mushroom can be lethal. Not that Dennis did not mean that there is only one single lethal mushroom per run. There is only one single
It's
type of mushroom
one type of mushroom. Yeah.
which can be lethal. We need to make
Yeah.
sure that has been
Good
clarified.
clarification. Yeah.
Thank you, so that nobody gets it misunderstood. Uh, were there any evolutions for Darwin that were off the table from the start, from the very inception of the game, Dennis?
I mean, nothing is off the table per se. If they're off the table, is just because after exploring and researching into it, they have been shut down from the technical side, or we didn't find a way to make them funny, basically, or they didn't fit with the. But we didn't go like, oh, we're never doing, I don't know, cat-like features. No, there's nothing off the table. We just need to find a way to make them fun.
All right. This one is a loaded one. Do you regret releasing the Finn evolution on full release?
That's a really good question. So I cannot answer this one very well without a bit more context of future plans. It is a more useful evolution than people think. It's just underpicked, but when picked, it is not as bad as people expect. I think it is a bit of a perception thing where it bans some of the powerful evolutions, but now those evolutions are less needed given that you gain HP with every level. So actually getting rid of some evolutions from the pool that maybe you don't need for that run is not such bad of a trade-off, right? Especially when you get to go and fight Aquaconda for free without wings, and you get to flee enemies that cannot go into water when you're in trouble. it is not as bad as people think, but perhaps it will be more useful after we do some updates.
Oh, you mean the water gameplay extension that's coming towards the end of the public roadmap? Who knows? Who
It could
knows?
be anything.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on and a little bit away from the evolution side, into the content, like overall content of the game. Will there be more challenges excluding Chosen in the future?
Excluding Chosen?
Yes.
Sorry. Challenges excluding Chosen? Why excluding Chosen? I didn't understand the question, sorry.
Would there be any new challenges that specifically exclude the Chosen genetic in the future?
That is a very specific question.
That is a very specific question.
It depends. The only reason we ban genetics or evolutions from challenges is because they do not work with that specific challenge. So, for example, if I don't know, a challenge says that you cannot ever roll 3 things and Chosen rolls 3 things, then that challenge and genetic does not combo well, and we remove it from the pool. If we ever make another challenge that has a similar problem, then Chosen will also be excluded from the pool.
All right. Thank you for dealing with that very specific question. Moving on the challenges side, are there any challenges mode that you wanted to be part of the game, but you just didn't work out so far?
Yeah, no specific one comes to mind. Okay, one specific one comes to mind, but I'm not going to mention it because it may still happen if we make it work well. It's one of the favorite ones of one of the development members, so we're looking into it. But yeah, there's many. There's always a lot of content that we wish we had the time to put into 1.0, but this is why we keep supporting the game, because it's well received and we want to make it as good as we can.
That's fair. Speaking of new material, will we get some new POIs in the future?
Yes,
Bit of a repeat?
POIs is another one of the things that we keep investing into, because it's just going to increase the variance of the runs, right? There's a sweet spot of POIs, and I believe we can still keep adding POIs and increase the richness of the game.
All right, this one is for both you, Dennis, and also for Ivan, and I will let Ivan answer this one first. Can I please have an in-game pet on my playthroughs?
Oh, like the current charming system, or like having like a small version of yourself? I don't really understand.
I would say like beyond the charming system. Think Minecraft dog.
Yeah, I mean that's something that visually can be done, but I think it's more like a probably something technically that needs to be solved. And yeah, but again, that it's a maybe, or no promises about this.
What do you think, Dennis? Pets?
Same, a maybe. We'll leave it there.
I will just say, imagine the heartbreak that we're going to hear from everybody once Scrubber who just punches somebody's dog in the face. That's that's something that's
one
gonna
of the
be hard to deal
problems.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, community management wise, I'm gonna say no. I don't wanna see you all cry. All right. On the content side, Dennis, are you happy with the current state of environment hazards?
I think if you ask almost any designer of their game if they're happy with something, most of the cases they're gonna say mostly yes, but, and that is the answer here. Mostly yes, or we wouldn't have sit with that and we would have spent more time polishing it. But I think it's still something that we can improve. We don't know. It is one of the things that we have gone through the most. If there's loyal people from the very, very ancient times here, they know that the environment used to work very differently. I see Kawhi in the chat, so he has very strong opinions about how the snow biome used to be versus how it is now. So yeah, we had to do some changes, which I believe were good for the gameplay, but it's still an area we can keep improving once we find the right formula.
All right. This one is a question for Ivan. When are we releasing Darwin merch? In parentheses, marketable plushie, ASAP PLZ.
Oh yeah, about that, yeah, I think there is a task that I should be dealing with. Can we move to another question, please, Milo?
Speaking of questions, I think I need to end this on this one. It's been lovely, everybody. We planned for 60 minutes. We went 50 minutes above to try and answer as many questions as possible. Thank you all for participating. We have recorded this AMA and we will upload it next week. With that, thank you and bye-bye. Bye all.
Bye.